You're listening to the UK Christian Hip Hop Podcast on Kingdom Culture.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to a new episode of the Kingdom Culture Podcast, UKCHH on Kingdom Culture. And I'm joined with Cassie and Calvin Venus. What's going on, guys?
Hey.
And there's a big playlist called Mercy on Spotify. Yeah. Go check it out. Go listen to it. Subscribe to it. Always got some new bangers from people like Novelist, A-Star. I mean, there's some new cats on there, and it's great. Make sure you go check it out. That's Mercy with an X, so MXRCY playlist on Spotify. Subscribe and follow that. Some great artists out there doing their thing. I see Greens for God with Still Shady, it's Elijah, and someone else. Can't remember who else was in it.
Shah, there's a new single from Shah and CJ. That's like Grime, back to back. You heard that one?
Yeah, I think I've heard snippets of it, man.
Yeah,
I mean,
so it's on the lines of like, you know, because Feed Them as well. Feed Them done like a
not for the radio.
Not for the radio. So it's hyped like that. So I would say the tempo is on that tempo.
I like it.
Yeah.
What's your views on, like, you know, not to go into too deep, but what's your views on, like, so grime artists would not really reckon with hip hop or even rap at times. They won't say I'm a rapper, they'll say I'm an MC. What's your views on that? You know, do you believe hip hop is the umbrella for it all, or do you believe that grime is actually separate from hip hop?
That's a really good question. Go on, Cass.
I think there's influences. Like for me, influence of grime from what they would say my dad would call toasting. Well, we would say chatting on the mic, but you know, toasting. So influence from there, and also from rap as well. I think a lot of it is from because people MCing back in, as you said, jungle days, drum and bass. So it kind of, you know, things evolved from there. So I feel it does. I mean, I know they went, it's, you know, they separate genres, but the influences are from there.
What would you say grime is to you? When you hear the grime sound, how would you define it as? Culturally and sonically?
To me, grime, the grime sound, to me, it has a bit of drum and bass. I can still hear some drum and bass in there. For some way, I don't know. It's sometimes it has a bit of that, but it's a bit more grimy. That's why. Culturally, I don't really know. I want to hear someone else's answer on that one. Then I want to hear Calvin's one. Then
gosh. Well, it's funny because I'm glad you started, because I had to really think about these questions. So these are good questions. Yeah. Man, you asked the good ones.
He did ask a very good one.
It's funny, like I growing up in, you know, I was DJing in the 90s.
Yeah.
And I've always seen MCing as one thing and hip hop and rapping is another thing. And rap is a culture and it's an American culture, whereas MCing in the vein that we have from, like you mentioned, jungle, drum and bass to, you know, 4 on the floor and then 2-step and then, you know, grime. That's a culture that kind of was incubated here in the UK. We weren't really influenced by any other country in the world. Maybe Jamaica, if anything.
Definitely from there, because that's what I mean.
And that's when you said toasting, and I was like, when you said toasting, I was like, right, you're right. That's where it's come from. That's literally where it's come from. Because when we had jungle, which when we first really hearing toasting in to the effect that we hear it today, it wasn't from hardcore music or happy hardcore. It was coming from jungle, and it was the reggae beats with the extra drums.
Yeah,
that's literally where we started to hear the toasting, hosting, and I call it MCing.
Yeah,
but then again, grime these days is going on different levels where they're now storytelling, and it's about wordplay it's about storytelling and lyricism as opposed to wordplay and hosting a party and MCing a party. You know, master of ceremony.
Yeah,
and so it's funny because like you would never call hip hop EDM, but you could technically call grime EDM. But you couldn't do it the other way around. You see what I mean? Like you wouldn't affect, like MCing like from jungle to, you know, drum and bass, 4 on the floor, 2-step, grime, now drill, I guess. Maybe not drill. Drill's going more into the into the rap side, but anytime you see just people just spitting bars, it's literally that they just spitting bars. It's wordplay as opposed to lyricism. You know what I mean? That's like the difference between rap and hip hop.
So I'm gonna throw what Wikipedia calls rap to be, and let's see how that resonates with each of us. Rapping is a musical form of vocal delivery that incorporates rhyme, rhythmic speech, and street vernacular, which is performed or chanted in a variety of ways, usually over a backing beat or a musical accompaniment. The components of rap include content, flow, and delivery. Hip hop music, also called hip hop or rap music, is a genre of popular music developed in the United States by inner city African Americans and Latino Americans in the Bronx borough of New York City in the 1970s.
Yeah. So one's culture, one's technical.
Yeah. So isn't grime so isn't rap and grime similar? So isn't a rapper, can a rapper do grime? Because if rap's just the delivery, the technique of what you're doing, is it genre specific? Perhaps?
I'm gonna jump in here. So early hip hop was toasting and hosting. I mean, that's why they call it hippity hop. That's why it was hip hop. And what they were doing, it was toasting and hosting. They weren't. It wasn't core rap. You know what they were is like rapping was like, hey, let's just let's go over this one. Let's go over this one. Let's go over. Let's. And that's that wordplay. So in that regard, it's the same. But I still feel like when you look at One Extra and all this kind of stuff, where you see people just, it's all about the wordplay. You know what I mean? It is all about the wordplay as opposed to what they're saying. You see what I mean?
So what you're saying is storytelling, that kind of like audio visualization on music versus what you're saying, MCing, which is all about punchlines, wordplay, statements instead of like
I'm actually
more of a picture.
I don't want to actually. So even having said what I said, I don't even want to like hang a coat up on it and said, yeah, that's it. Because hip hop is a culture. Like hip hop actually incorporates the dancing and the DJing, not just the rapping. Do you know what I mean? There's dancing and DJing. There's everything that goes with it. Grime is very, very similar. It's a culture side to it. Like it's a fashion. It's like I even said it's a form of EDM, but you don't see people with glow sticks listening to grime. You know what I mean? Like it's not the same as other forms. And I think it's really, grime is a culture in itself where people moved away from two-step and went harder and just wanted it more of the lyrical, I guess the rapping focus over more of a loop. Whereas we were hearing like Destiny's Child's remixes on the two-step, like they moved away from that and went harder. Whereas everybody was actually trying to dance in the EDM. Everybody was like 21 seconds, 21 seconds. It was more of a vibe. It's more of a culture. It literally is the sound of British youth. Like all of that. And grime, like drill, is now encapsulating the sound of British youth.
Why do you think that is? Is it because you did say culture and you did say, sound as well. But why is that sound? But I remember when I was growing up, and I do speak to my friends quite frequently about this because everyone seems to forget the life before grime. And I remember when there was no grime, it was like, you had the garage, you said the toast and the hosting, that's the kind of music. And a lot of the influence came from like hip hop music, where my brother, he was like, hip hop music, here you go, boom, from the likes of Queen Pen all the way to Sugar Hill Gang, you know what I mean? And African Bambaataa to KRS-One. These are the kind of things. This was the influence because that was the sound. Why has grime become the sound of the young people or like youth today? Why has it? How has it replaced hip hop? Because when I was growing up and my brother's friends and whatnot, like it was rap music. You know what I mean? And then I've got So Sorry Crew came out, and that kind of like took over all over the place. And then before you know it, Wiley came out, was like, yo, Esky you know,
Yeah.
Well,
I mean,
Wiley was
kind of
before
thing.
that though. Wiley was before the Soul Soul.
Yeah, he was in Pay As You Go, innit? But
Yeah.
he came out with that song, What Do You Call It? And he was
Okay.
literally making I think that was one of his kind of like, you know, founding statements of this is not garage, it's not made, it's made in the studio.
Yeah, if anyone's wondering why they call him the Godfather, that is the reason why.
But in terms of the sound of the youth, like why is it that? What's your thoughts on why the sound has been adopted by UK culture?
I think it's the same as what happened in like between 1976 and 1978 in the Bronx. You know, you had these illegal parties. We know what illegal parties were like in the UK. We had what's it called? Good times. You know what I mean? We had the carnival. You know what I mean? We had sound systems, which we borrow from. So they had their own sound systems. Isn't it funny that Jamaica is the major influential route to all these illegal parties and toasting and hosting all this kind of stuff, but it's running parallel. So it's all about time, space, and opportunity. So you had that going on in the Bronx. A lot of those TR Roland AR8s were only available in certain secondhand stores, and record players, you know, they're available in secondhand stores. People couldn't afford it. You know what I mean? That's why people keeping the breaks going. You know what I mean? So they could do that. Over in the UK, we have our own influences. Why we had like, you know, I mean, even hardcore music was influenced by black culture. You know, trip hop. You had with Tricky in that. You had you know, drum and bass and all this kind of stuff. We had our own influences, but the time, space, and opportunity was unique to the place that's in, and that's the reason why I feel. Just as you start to see your first kind of UK supergroup that wasn't like, you know, I was gonna say Steam, you know, from what's that? That white boy band group, E17.
E17.
Like, if you think about the UK's first roughneck kind of hard edge supergroup was E17. You know what I mean? Like, think about it. After that, we didn't really have anybody until you really see So Solid and Pay As You Go, but really So Solid is really where they hit the charts. Like when it was majorly an influence, because you know, obviously the subculture was already influencing the language and the tone. Now you had the soundtrack to go with it, and then you already had these kids that were well versed that were doing parties all outside London. It was never inside London. I remember when I was DJing, grime was not allowed to be played inside central London. Because they didn't want people.
But do you mean by like north, east, and Greater London? Do you mean the
more,
outskirts?
More
of
central London.
Because
central London even.
Everything else, it couldn't even get inside W3, E3. Yeah, or can't get inside the 3.
Yeah.
You know, you
I remember like my experiences were pirate radio. That was the one. I mean, like you were just like huddle around the radio, be like, yo, who's playing? Or if you get to go to a radio station. I was talking to my friend the other day about recording, and I was like, oh, bro, remember back in the day when we used to get the computer, and you know, on start, you hit start on the Windows laptop, and you get sound recorder, and you use one of those mics you put into the green slot at the back, and then you put the beat on at the back, and you were spitting on the mic while the beat's going on the back, and I'm like, that reminds me of when this all was starting. It was like you never had that. Studio was not even a conversation you had. It was just like, what you got a computer? What? Let's do this thing. It was just so exciting. Like, you know, that time of music, and it was the inception of it. And what you see to it now, I mean, you got Lethal Bizzle, who's now pronounced a millionaire in grime. I mean, you know, you look at the beef that Stormzy and Wiley had, you know, and it generated mass amounts of interest. I mean, his second response video, 7.2 million. I mean, that's on a grime beat. I mean, he literally went away from his drill, whatever structure he had, and went onto a grime beat, and it literally just catapulted grime again into the spotlight of where it used to be about 5 years ago. But
I mean, it's good.
I mean, honestly, it's a soundtrack to the youth. I mean, you already have the Incubator, which is the legal radio stations. Then one extra, but all these things are not like by chance.
But Calvin, check this out.
Play it on the main radio station, so that's when you had your urban station.
But check this out though, So Wiley made a specific beeline for Stormzy, and on his Twitter he based upon the fact that drill was becoming a new UK sound, and he wanted to make sure grime stayed on top as the UK sound. Do you believe, Cass and Calvin, that drill can or will overtake grime and to become the UK sound? Or do you think grime will stay king?
No, I just think they both have their place in the market. Because some people might not like a drill beat, and then some people prefer grime. Because people that spit over a drill beat is a different sound to how they would do over grime. I personally prefer people spitting over grime because I like that quick pace and quick thinking. And I like when people come together and MC. Back in the days watching people MCing on ragga beats, those days, I love that. You know what I mean? Love wheel ups. That's me. That sort of environment. That is what I relish. I love that type of environment.
I think you will go with the old, ragamuffin, It will, because it just be a sign of the times. You know what I mean? And like, let's face it, and we've all been there. We've all been there. Because you know what I mean. Like, I just remember my school days. You know what I mean? But whatever was cool for us won't be cool for the next generation.
Yeah, it'll be something else.
You know what I mean? Like, Shaka Demons and Pliers, though. Like,
oh my gosh.
You know what I'm saying?
Dun, dun, dun,
You know what I mean?
dun, dun. Yes, I remember that song.
we had anthems.
Yeah.
And here's the thing, we had anthems because people weren't allowed to copy each other. That's why we had a Red Rat and a Beanie Man.
Do you believe it? Do you believe it's more enjoyable because you can't do it, or it's not liked by your predecessors? Does that make it like? I remember rap music was so much more enjoyable to me because, like, especially my grandparents were like, "Yo, I don't want to hear that brigadier." I'm like, "Yo, we want to listen to that." In my headphones, I'm listening to rap music, but acting like I'm listening to some kind of light-hearted pop. I can't be nodding my head hard because they know what I'm listening to. Like, does it become more desirable because it's more prohibited by the people who came before?
I feel that's the thing about youth culture. It doesn't want to be defined by the generation before. So if the youth take hold, which they are doing, and they've traditionally took hold, they literally become the tastemakers of the future. And then what happens is we like in our generation will go, well, that's really intelligent. That's really good. Like, I can appreciate that because that's music. You see what I mean? And if, like I said, like, I can't wait till when music gets to a point where people can't bite on people's styles again within their sound. Because I want to see the cultural flips and the expansive ideas. You see what I mean? Like, where people start to be creative. That's just me. Because it's cyclical. I think music's cyclical. Taste is cyclical. You know. But what's interesting, though, I say this, right? There's a Times report that says that whatever you were listening to at age 18, you, in a way, will listen to that for the rest of your life. And whatever you connect to new music, you will hear whatever you love in that music, and that you may or adopt or reject. So basically, whatever you listen to at age 18 has defined your music listening taste for the rest of your life. Because up to that point, it's like, oh, that's the in sound. That's the in sound.
It's strange though. Like I could get incredibly infused with like rap music all day, and then I'm flipping over to like some CCM, then I'm flipping over to some hymns. I'm like, I've got a very broad musical taste. Jazz. I love instrumentalization of jazz. Jazz. I do beautiful.
Pop. I go everywhere.
But
is that because of what we do?
Well, it's because of your hip hop taste. Because you know that what's his name? Q-Tip was listening to jazz records. You know that Talib Kweli was listening to funk soul. You know what I mean? Ghostface was listening to funk music. You know what I mean? Like, we hear that in that music. We also appreciate that in other styles.
I respect that. Like, do you like the hip hop loop? I don't know how to explain it best, but I'm gonna try my hardest to see if you can catch it. But when it's like the loop is every 4 bar and not. I really can't explain.
So basically, you're describing boom bap. Because like Nas's albums is that 4-bar loop. It's won or lost on that 4 bars.
Yeah, but it's more sampled than that. You get where I'm coming from? It's like the Nas's album, because Illmatic, Still Matic, Godson, all that is amazing stuff. But he like just before that, it was more like sampled. It was like I can't explain it, man.
Oh, like Public Enemy, or
yeah. What's your thoughts on like that type of hip hop music? Do you like it?
You know, I mean, okay.
At the time, because you can't deny it. I mean, coming at the time, you probably did.
Okay,
I mean, there was a lot of bad ones. Like if you think about, say, man, like there's so many people that did it really, really well, and then there's so many people that did it really, really bad. Like for example, the first people come to mind is De La Soul.
Oh, De La Soul, yeah.
They take big sampled chunks, but it's like the right sample chunk. You see what I mean?
Yeah. They
could get away with it.
I found
this
like
is me, myself, and I. So that's what it sounds out to me. It's just me, myself, and I.
Yeah. De La Soul, they had a nice edge to it. He softened the edge, which was quite good. But he had some of that, you know, that underground hip hop, which it was like nothing changes. Like, is this just like 128 bars, or what's going on here? You know, that kind of I'm like, when's the beat gonna like breathe? You know, I don't know.
I think it depends, innit? It has to. You have to be a talented rapper for me to keep my attention longer.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Like that.
Yeah.
But like honestly, they've been like, especially like West Coast rap went through that stage, you know, because the East Coast rap was that. You know what I mean? It was tight loops, and then it was like these big, expensive 8-bar loops. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
On Nas and that, but.
So I could listen to Illmatic now and be like, poof, timeless. Like making a timeless piece of music is not an easy thing to do. But
and I don't even remember 808 on his tracks as well. Which is another weird thing now. It's like when I listen to Boom Bap and realize, man, this had so much soul and grooves because
that's the word, man, soul and groove. Like I think that's the thing that like that I feel like I'm missing, but I don't want to put it down on anybody's music. And we're like, look, you're doing your thing, you're making your own journey. But for me personally, my love for music is that soul and that groove, that when the bass line's going and the synth, they're throwing it like a synth. I don't know what that thing, you know what that thing's called. You know that tube they put in their mouth?
It's called a vocoder.
But when they put that with a good rap beat, God, Dre messed the stuff. Well, I love that stuff, man. But
Snoop Dogg with all his stuff is soul, straight soul. It didn't surprise me that he could sing. He listened to soul funk music.
Do you know what's mad though? I feel like as growing up in the UK, being exposed to so much US rap, I've grown into a point where I like grime. I'm like, I like it in its elements, but I can't consume as much of it as my counterparts who only listen to grime. Because what came through my older brother was always rap music, and then my other brother, he had all the slow jams from the Jaheems and the Joes and the. Literally that was my apex, was like, you know, hardcore hip hop and, you know, R&B.
You and me both. That's why I was DJing. I was EPMD one moment, and then, you know. It's strange, man. It's like I can't. There's a lot of people I can't level with when it comes to this because they never had that influence. They kind of got into music at a certain age of like when garage and grime came about.
I think for like unless your household, like my children, they would have heard my daughter. I suppose like with reggae music, it's actually having gone full circle because they listen to the music that we would have listened to back. They listen to it now.
Oh, they listen.
They listen to it. They listen to it. My daughter knows a lot of them songs that I listened to.
So that's the good thing about reggae, though.
It's actually come back, and I'm like,
but the DJs still pull up the records from back in the day, and so it's that's part of the DJ culture, like you know. But again, this is the blessed thing about being in the UK versus anywhere else in the world. We're like that, you know. We're like connoisseurs because we had convergences, major culture clashes. We had like Jazzy B with our own unique soul. Alongside whatever was going on in not only just America, but Africa too, with Fela Kuti. Like we were bombarded, literally bombarded. And honestly, like we were blessed in the UK to have the record stores that we did because all those record stores which are fast closing now, They literally were there were people coming from America to get stuff from Africa. Because this was the marketplace for all these records. And I miss crate digging and then hearing the conversations, because that's what it was. Like, you had all these DJs from different styles, different places around London, and we knew their audiences, we knew what they were listening to, and you just had intrigue. Nowadays, it's Instagram. Like, there's no, it's not DJs. It's kind of like YouTube clips of people.
Calvin, don't you remember, when you get to know the record store managers, and when there's the new releases, they put them behind the counter for you. I've never done it before. Like, they know
the most important people in the music industry
back there. Yeah.
They were the most important people in the music industry, but now we have it. They've been replaced by streaming sites. Yeah, faceless. Not down in it. It just removed the culture of influence, because we had connoisseurs passing tracks to connoisseurs. And
see, it's one thing,
and then giving it to the labels and saying, "Hey, so I sold X amount, but here's the hot one. So make that one the single," and then that became the single.
It's crazy. Like, it's on one side you've got like the genre changing over time, which was okay because it suited a certain demographic. But now you've got like the industry changing at the same time. Like, so you got, from the record stores to even just having a banter between friends about like what you listening to. Have you got that mixtape? Let me send it to you. That kind of like, that mixtape culture was huge. I mean, Lil Wayne's known to release like tens and tens of mixtapes, which is crazy. But now obviously it's irrelevant. But the way the industry has changed with like Spotify, I mean, like even trying to have a conversation over a good piece of music, or even just stew over something to be like, this is good. Like, you haven't even got time to stew over a good EP, because before you know it, something else is through the pipeline. Another 10, another 5, another. It's like, like, I'm on to the next one. And sometimes you lose the appreciation of the now and the present of that release. And it's a bit sad, man, because that was the beauty of it, when you got an album, you'd be like, someone released an album, like, this is going to last me till their next release, and probably after that as well. I remember that with Eminem. I was like, man, I've got this album. I'm not even going to be pining for more. I know that this is enough for me to play on loop 17 tracks over and over. I'm going to love it to the next one, because the quality was there. And I'm not saying the quality is not there. I don't know. I think it's the culture of community is not as much as it used to be, so let's end this one here, and because this was a bit far. I didn't even think it was going to go that deep, but as we always do, introspecting, let's get in on it. So again, subscribe where you are. Thank you for following us. If you're on YouTube, hit the subscribe button and then the bell notification button, because it tells you when we drop a new video. Any questions, email them over, send them over, message, DM, whatever takes your fancy, just get them over to us so we can find out what the community is thinking, and we can find out, how we can grow and make things better for the Lord. So till next time, peace and have a good
You're
day.
listening to the UK Christian Hip Hop Podcast on Kingdom Culture.